just need to start this off with a massive, and I mean a genuinely soul-leaving-the-body, wine-fueled sigh.
Honestly, I felt that sigh from across the room.
Right. I am exhaling the weight of 1,000 terrible reality television relationships right now.
It is a heavy burden, babe. It really is.
It is, because I am sitting here looking at the state of the world, and I am fully, unequivocally convinced that reality TV dating has officially, permanently, and like irreparably broken our collective brains.
Oh, completely. It has
Yeah.
fundamentally destroyed our psychological baseline for what constitutes, normal human interaction.
Exactly.
Like, we are no longer functioning members of a romantic society.
Yeah.
We are just willing participants in this televised psychological experiment.
We really are, and we love it. Welcome back, you beautiful, gorgeous babes. We love you, and babes, we are so glad you are here with us. And of course, babes, happy midweek.
Happy midweek.
Yeah.
We made it to Wednesday.
Barely. Like, the bags under my eyes are designer at this point, but we are here, and we have a safe space right here on the Snark side.
A highly necessary safe space. Because out there in the real world, it is a total wasteland.
Oh, 100%.
But in here, we process the trauma together.
We absolutely do. And listen to me, Snark Squad. We need to talk about TV dating tonight.
You have to.
Because the entire genre is literally exploding right now. You cannot open a streaming app, turn on your television, or even like scroll through your phone without being aggressively assaulted by hot, emotionally unstable singles trapped in a villa.
Or shoved into opaque pods.
Yes, or fighting in some tropical boardroom. It is literally everywhere. But honestly, watching all of this play out, I just have to ask the big question right up front.
You're honest.
Do we think any of these people, literally a single one of them across any network, are actually in love?
If we are looking at the empirical evidence, absolutely not.
Not a single soul.
Not a single solitary soul. What we are witnessing is not love. They are in love with the algorithm.
Wow.
And, the algorithm is a harsh, demanding, and incredibly lucrative mistress.
But see, I am officially in a reality dating spiral over this. I am looking at the current state of television romance, and I am genuinely unwell.
I mean, same.
You look at the absolute unhinged, screaming-at-the-wall chaos of Love is Blind, and then you look at the complete and utter strategic disasters on Perfect Match.
It's just bad decision after bad decision.
Literally, people are getting engaged. They are proposing lifelong, legally binding commitment to another human being after, 4 conversations through a piece of frosted glass.
It's wild.
And the worst part is, the deeply embarrassing, hopelessly romantic part of me still desperately wants it to be real.
Oh, babe, no.
I know, but I want to believe that you can meet your soulmate in a neon-lit, sensory deprivation isolation chamber.
Which is exactly how the producers trap you. But we have to look at the mechanics of what is actually happening.
Oh, hit me with the logic.
The pipeline from naive single looking for love to full-time managed influencer is so incredibly streamlined right now.
It really is an industry.
It operates like an industrial assembly line. Every single relationship we see on these shows now feels like a highly orchestrated brand activation.
Yes, sponsored by Fashion Nova.
Exactly. Sponsored by Fashion Nova, fueled entirely by emotional instability and designed to maximize engagement metrics.
It's so dark when you put it like that.
I am fully convinced that everyone, and I mean everyone stepping onto these sets, is just chasing clout and Instagram followers.
Every single one.
Yes. They aren't looking for a life partner. They're looking for a highly profitable co-host for their future TikTok content.
Oh my God. But wait, if that is true, and I mean, I know deep down in my bones that it is, are we just watching beautiful people emotionally damage each other for brand deals?
Pretty much.
Because if we are, that makes us complicit, right?
Wow.
Like, are dating shows even real anymore, or are we just willingly sitting on our couches funding their future brand endorsements with our viewership while they slowly destroy each other's mental health?
Well, we are 100% the enabler.
We are.
We are the venture capitalists funding this emotional warfare. The currency they trade in is their own dignity, and we pay them out in likes, comments, and engagement.
That is so depressing.
It is a perfectly balanced, incredibly toxic, symbiotic ecosystem.
Well, the currency on my couch tonight is wine.
As it should be.
I have to confess to the Snark Squad, the sangria is flowing tonight. It is pouring.
We needed it.
And honestly, maybe it's making me extra jaded, or maybe it's making me completely delusional, but I feel like we need the liquid courage to get through the sheer messiness of what we are about to dissect.
The sangria is a necessary protective barrier.
Yeah.
Because if we are going to sit here and viciously judge the romantic failures of reality television stars, we have to look in the mirror.
Oh boy, here we go.
Reality TV dating is a sham, but let's be completely real with the audience right now. Real-life dating is an equal, if not greater, disaster.
Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. We need to just rip the Band-Aid off and reveal this to the squad.
Go ahead, say it.
Snark Squad, we both officially deleted and completely gave up on dating apps about 2 months ago.
We did. It's done.
We wiped the profiles, we deleted the apps, we are off the digital grid.
We have formally retired from the digital meat market.
Mm-hmm.
The psychological toll was simply too high.
Too high.
It was an act of self-preservation.
It was survival. I was spiraling so hard about the horrors of the apps. Like, I need someone, a sociologist, a psychologist, anyone, to explain to me the sheer volume of men holding dead fish in their profile pictures.
It's an epidemic.
Why? What is the evolutionary need to present a suffocating aquatic creature as proof of your masculinity in the year 2026?
It's truly baffling.
Is it supposed to signal that you can provide for me in the event of a global apocalypse? Because all it signals to me is that you smell like a dog.
It is a fascinating miscalculation of the female gaze.
Mm.
They are utilizing a hunter-gatherer flex in an era where we just want someone who goes to therapy.
Literally. Just show me you own a journal.
Right. And the fish are just the visual assault. The conversational assault is worse.
Oh, don't remind me.
If you actually match with someone who managed to take a photo indoors without a carp, the immediate barrage begins.
But always the same script.
You exchange exactly 2 messages. Hi, hey, how was your weekend? And immediately, message 3. So what are you looking for?
Yes. Like, I don't know, Kevin. A connection. A reason to smile.
A mild distraction.
A mild distraction from my impending existential dread. I do not want to map out my 5-year emotional business plan and reproductive timeline to a total stranger at 10:15 p.m. on a Tuesday while I'm wearing a sheet mask.
It is an aggressive acceleration of intimacy, usually perpetrated by emotionally unavailable finance bros.
The absolute worst genre of men.
You know exactly the archetype. The ones who wear Patagonia fleece vests in July.
Oh my God, yes.
Who talk about their crypto portfolios as if it is a substitute for personality, and who view dating as a hostile corporate takeover.
That is so accurate.
They love bomb you for 3 weeks, integrate themselves into your daily routine, and then the second you show a genuine human emotion, they evaporate.
Poof. Gone.
The ghosting is systemic.
Or they don't ghost.
Wait, really?
Sometimes they stick around and you get invested, and then you realize through the background, clues in their photos like a specific brand of oat milk in the fridge or a decorative throw pillow that no single man has ever purchased, that they are clearly, undeniably still living with their ex-girlfriend.
Ugh, the we broke up but the lease isn't up for 6 months defense.
It is a plague.
It is an epidemic. And
Yeah.
then there's the algorithm itself. Have you ever accidentally matched with the exact same terrible date repeatedly across different apps over the span of 3 years?
Yes, all the time.
Because I have. It's like the universe is testing me, repeatedly putting this man back on my digital path, just to see if I've learned my lesson yet.
It's like digital Groundhog Day. But here's where my delusion kicks in. Even with all of that, the dead fish, the finance vests, the hidden X's, part of me emotionally insists there is still hope out there somewhere.
Really?
Still.
I still want the romance. I can't help it.
I genuinely marvel at your resilience because my tank is empty.
You're completely... Oh, yeah. At this point, the only logical, mathematically sound life path for me is becoming a mysterious, highly unapproachable millionaire recluse.
Okay, I see the vision.
I want a large, drafty mansion, a lot of velvet drapery, and a completely fabricated backstory about a tragic past that makes people afraid to walk past my property line. That is my dating strategy moving forward.
Okay, but this brings up a hilarious debate that we need to settle.
Let's do it.
If you, right now, were forced to choose, would you rather try to find love on a highly produced reality TV show or back in the real-life dating trenches?
Oh, wow. That is bleak.
Because think about it. Let's play devil's advocate for the villa. On TV, everyone is objectively hot.
True.
There is a casting department ensuring a baseline of physical symmetry. You get a free, all-expenses-paid vacation in a gorgeous tropical location. You get unlimited alcohol, catered meals, and a wardrobe department styling you.
Okay, you're selling me on the villa.
Right. The only downside is the distinct possibility that you might emotionally combust, have a nervous breakdown, and have your absolute worst, most vulnerable moments broadcast in high definition to millions of people.
So you casually brush past the public combustion, but that is a massive life-altering downside.
Is it, though?
Yes. When I get ghosted in real life, Millions of people do not immediately go onto Reddit to write a 5-paragraph psychoanalysis of my text response time. My humiliation is private.
Okay, fair point.
It is contained to the group chat. Reality TV weaponizes your heartbreak for ad revenue. But, on the other hand, the real world has significantly fewer abs.
Very true.
The lighting is terrible, and nobody is handing me a freshly poured mimosa while I cry, so it really is a complex trade-off.
Right. I feel like in my head, I would thrive in a villa.
Oh, you would be a menace.
I would be the mastermind. I would
Yeah.
be pulling the strings, orchestrating the alliances, looking fabulous in a confessional, but realistically, knowing myself,
What would actually happen?
I would emotionally combust immediately. I would become the villain of the entire season by episode 2 because I snapped at someone for chewing their microphone while I was trying to nap.
We would be a PR nightmare. We would be canceled before the mid-season finale, guaranteed.
100%. We wouldn't survive the first recoupling.
Not a chance.
But speaking of things that bring me pure, unadulterated joy, before we get canceled, I have to tell the Snark squad about our dinner reveal.
Oh my God, yes.
Because before we sat down to hit record tonight, we made shrimp broccoli cheese pasta. And babes, it was divine.
It was a religious, transcendental experience.
I am still physically processing it. The structural integrity of that pasta dish, the viscosity of the sauce, it was flawless execution.
Let's just spiral about this pasta for a second, because I genuinely needed the therapy it provided.
Pasta therapy is real.
You know when you have a long, exhausting week of just aggressively avoiding your adult responsibilities, and you need something to coat your soul?
Yes, like an internal blanket.
Exactly. This creamy sauce was just enveloping. It was a hug in a bowl. And adding the shrimp made me feel so elevated, so classy.
Right. I felt like we were dining al fresco on the Amalfi Coast instead of sitting on a couch in sweatpants.
With dog hair on the
Like,
couch.
literally. And the
Ah.
broccoli. The broccoli is the greatest psychological trick of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
It made me feel incredibly healthy. It completely tricked my brain into believing I was actively nourishing my cellular structure, even though the dish we consumed was mathematically 90% melted cheese and heavy cream.
It is the beautiful lie we tell ourselves. The illusion of wellness wrapped in a blanket of saturated fat.
And I have zero regrets.
None. In fact, I am literally sitting here actively scraping the corners of the Tupperware container for any residual sauce as we speak. I have abandoned all shame.
Oh, I love that for you.
But you have to admit, having a meal like that honestly changes the entire vibe of the recording. It centers you.
It totally centers you. I feel completely emotionally healed. The pasta has temporarily subdued my dating app trauma.
Thank goodness.
Which means, my beautiful babes, we are currently in the perfect, elevated, slightly unhinged state of mind to talk about the absolute circus that was episode 56 of MTV Splitsvilla 16.
The grand finale.
The grand finale.
I am taking a deep breath just thinking about it. Where do we even begin? Because the word mess is entirely insufficient to describe the sociological breakdown we witnessed on that screen.
It really is. We have to start with the physical setting of the scene. The grand finale red carpet of chaos.
Oh, the tension.
I want you to picture transitioning from our beautiful healing pasta therapy into this absolute nightmare of an environment. I am still in shock at the sheer, palpable awkwardness of this red carpet courtroom setup that Karan Kundra and Sunny Leone orchestrated.
It wasn't a red carpet.
What was it?
It was a psychological pressure cooker. It was designed for maximum emotional damage.
Absolutely.
Think about the mechanics of this finale.
Yeah.
You take an entire cast of volatile reality TV personalities. You send them home for 4 months. During those 4 months, the show airs. They watch the episodes. They see every single thing the other contestants said behind their backs in the confessionals.
And they fight.
They fight brutal, relentless wars in the Instagram comment sections. They launch podcasts, tearing each other down. And then you fly them all back, put them in formal wear, and stick them all in one single enclosed room.
It is a recipe for spontaneous, televised combustion.
Exactly. It was the panopticon of reality TV. Everyone returning after 4 months of simmering resentment.
Yep.
You have exes glaring daggers at each other from across the room.
The glares were deadly.
You have former besties who are inseparable in the villa, completely refusing to make eye contact. You have people who literally threatened physical violence against each other on the show, suddenly trying to act cordial for the cameras.
Sophie.
The tension in that room was so thick, so heavy, you could cut it with a machete. And Cran and Sunny are just standing at the podium, smiling, welcoming them back, like, oh, you guys look so beautiful tonight. while every single contestant looks like they're clenching their jaws so hard their teeth might shatter.
And if you watch closely, you can spot the immediate analytical red flags before anyone even opens their mouth.
Oh, tell me.
It's all in the somatic markers of stress. You look at the crowd to see who actually showed up to face the music, and more importantly, you look at who didn't.
Right?
Like, Deeksha completely skipped the finale. She was nowhere to be found.
She opted entirely out of the narrative.
She really did.
And can you blame her? It was pure self-preservation. After the overwhelming social media backlash she faced, and the way she was absolutely dismantled and essentially exiled by the hosts earlier in the season, returning would have been subjecting herself to a firing squad.
Oh, they would have ripped her apart.
She protected her peace. But you look at the people who did show up, and nobody looked happy to be there. Their body language was incredibly rigid, arms crossed, micro-expressions of contempt. They were all just bracing themselves, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
They were absolutely terrified because they knew the receipts were coming.
The receipts always come.
Always. But before we get into the actual courtroom drama and the fighting, we have to talk about the winners.
Yeah.
We have to rip off this very controversial, highly debated Band-Aid.
Let's do it.
Because Gullu and Kara took the trophy and they walked away with the 20 lakh rupees cash prize.
Yes, they did. And this is where we need to really look at the math. Because the math behind this victory is the most astounding and, frankly, the most terrifying part of this entire season.
Okay, let's break down these stats. Because when they announced the numbers, my jaw literally unhinged and hit the floor.
It was crazy.
So the final results were determined by a wild combination metric. 50% of the final score was based on the timing of a grueling physical obstacle course. The other 50% was based on audience voting.
Right.
Now, Gullu and Kara supposedly finished the physical course in 16.33 minutes, which, fine. But the votes. The audience votes are what completely broke the internet and shattered the illusion of the show.
This is the exact moment where MTV Splitsvilla ceased to be a dating show and became a terrifying case study in modern digital mobilization.
Yes.
Gullu and Kara secured an absolutely jaw-dropping 38.4 million votes.
I cannot even mathematically process that number. I need the Snark squad to really hear this. Out of 75 million total votes cast across 4 couples, one single couple absorbs 38.4 million of them.
It's absurd.
That is more votes than some politicians get in national elections. And how wild is it that Elvis Yadov's fan base basically crowned the winner of a dating show?
It's unprecedented.
Because, let's be completely transparent here, Gullu didn't win because of a compelling romantic arc. He won because he had Elvis Yadov, a massively famous, highly controversial YouTuber, mobilizing his literal army of followers to flood the MTV voting portal.
Exactly.
It wasn't reality TV fans voting for their favorite couple. It was a coordinated, weaponized internet syndicate dropping millions of votes to flex their muscle.
And that is exactly why I cannot look at this finale without a heavy dose of analytical snark.
Oh,
What exactly are we celebrating here?
good question.
Are we celebrating a beautiful, hard-fought love story between Gullu and Kara? Or are we celebrating a highly effective, incredibly organized influencer voting syndicate hijacking traditional media?
It's the latter. Definitely the latter.
Because those are two entirely different phenomena. When a contestant can leverage a YouTuber with that kind of parasocial reach, the actual premise of the show becomes completely irrelevant. The romance is irrelevant. The tasks are irrelevant. You could put a potted fern next to Gullu, and if Elvis Yadov tells his 15 million subscribers to vote for the fern, that fern is walking away with 20 lakh rupees. It breaks the architecture of the game.
It totally delegitimizes the entire concept. What is the point of watching them struggle in a villa for 4 months if the winner was predetermined by an Instagram story from a guy who isn't even on the cast?
There's no point.
And let me tell you, the fans noticed. Babes, we have to bring up the massive Reddit rebellion that erupted after this aired.
Oh, Reddit was on fire.
I was deep in the Splitsville MTV subreddit at 2 a.m., and the fans were absolutely tearing the production team apart, limb from limb, for blatant favoritism.
I read those threads. They weren't just angry rants. They were essentially peer-reviewed academic papers on reality TV rigging.
They really were.
The audience brought time-stamped receipts. They brought cross-reference video clips. They analyzed the editing splices. It was a beautiful, terrifying display of collective internet sleuthing.
They came with briefcases full of evidence. Let's walk through the specific receipts the fans brought, because they made some undeniable, bulletproof points about how production protected Gullu.
Walk us through it.
First, let's look at the lock technicality in the finale obstacle course itself. We have to compare how Yogesh and Ruru were treated by the hosts versus how Gulu was treated.
The obstacle course handling was painful to watch, and it highlighted the structural inequality of the game.
So painful.
In the final, exhausting physical task, Yogesh and Ruru miss one single lock mechanism, a minor technicality in an otherwise incredibly grueling run.
Just one.
And Karan Kundra, acting as the ultimate arbiter of the rules, mercilessly forces them to climb all the way back up this towering, exhausting physical structure to fix it.
It was so brutal.
And he didn't just make them go back. He didn't even let them use the safety rigging to lower themselves down quickly. He forced them to use their already drained physical strength to climb down and then climb all the way back up. It completely, utterly destroyed their completion time. It tanked their entire finale performance over a microscopic error.
It was so incredibly harsh. It felt punitive. And then the fans pointed out the glaring double standard because Gulu essentially operated with a diplomatic immunity-free pass all season long.
He really did.
The Reddit thread had a literal laundry list of infractions. Fans pointed out that Gulu openly suggested cheating during the slide structure task earlier in the season.
I remember that.
He literally stood there and explicitly told his alliance to physically bounce on the structural supports of the slide to make the opposing girls lose their balance and fall into the pool. It was blatant sabotage.
Pure sabotage.
And what did the hosts do? Crickets. Absolute silence. No penalties, no lectures, nothing.
But the sabotage isn't even the most egregious part. It is the physical aggression.
Oh, don't get me started on the aggression.
Reality television has a baseline code of conduct regarding physical violence, usually for legal liability reasons. Yet, Gulu got highly physical with Ron, literally wrestling him to the ground in an early task.
Yes.
He aggressively jumped on Deeptanshu, Mohit, and Himanshu across various physical challenges. He was making open, explicit threats of violence, looking into the camera and saying he'd beat people up outside the show once filming wrapped.
And nothing happened.
Zero warnings, no reprimands, no dramatic dome sessions where he was scolded by the hosts. If you compare his unchecked aggression to how Diksha was aggressively ousted, lectured, and shamed for mere verbal drama, the hypocrisy is staggering. It is an HR nightmare masquerading as entertainment.
So I have to ask you, and I want you to push back on me here if I'm reaching.
I'm ready.
Is this just the outcry of bitter fans complaining because their personal favorites lost? Or did production actually actively script a corporate redemption arc for Gulu? Because we have to remember the context. He had a very controversial, heavily criticized win on Roadies right before this. A lot of people felt like MTV needed to legitimize him, to clean up his image and crown him as their new golden boy to justify their investment in him. Did they rig it?
I don't think you are reaching at all. If we step back and analyze the bigger picture of network reality TV economics, the pattern is glaringly obvious.
Right.
When the stated rules of a game only strictly apply to the contestants who are not favored by the network executives, it ceases to be a fair competition. It morphs into a highly produced, predetermined soap opera.
Wow.
They protected Gulu's edit in post-production. They allowed him to completely dictate the narrative during the dome sessions while simultaneously muzzling his detractors like Himanshu.
That's so true.
This isn't just bitter fans whining about a loss. These are highly observant, media-literate viewers pointing out that the playing field was visibly tilted at a 45-degree angle all season long to ensure a specific coronation.
It really feels like we were manipulated. And speaking of soap operas and manipulation, we have to transition out of the obstacle course and into the courtroom mess because that red carpet turned into a literal interrogation chamber.
Oh, it was a bloodbath.
We need to start with Deeptanshu's ultimate betrayal because watching this play out, my heart actually broke for his TV partner.
Deeptanshu is the undisputed patron saint of the fake-it-till-you-make-it influencer generation. He is the blueprint for how to commodify a fake relationship.
He literally is. I need you to break down this confrontation because he was brutally, systematically exposed in front of everyone.
It was incredible television.
He was standing there and he was confronted with the timeline of his own actions. He literally filmed his ticket to finale romantic moments with his partner on the show. He looked her in the eyes, gave her all these deep emotional assurances, held her hand, survived the eliminations.
The whole 9 yards.
And then he left the villa. And immediately, the second his contract allowed, he started posting romantic content and couples reels with his real-life girlfriend who had been waiting for him at home the entire time.
He didn't even have the decency to observe a respectable PR-mandated mourning period.
No.
He didn't do the standard, "we decided we are better as friends" post.
Yeah.
He just seamlessly transitioned from his television showmans directly back to his actual girlfriend, leaving his Splitsvilla partner to watch the whole betrayal unfold in real time on her Instagram feed. It was a masterclass in sociopathic detachment.
I reacted so emotionally to his TV partner's heartbreak in that courtroom. I could feel her humiliation through the screen.
It was awful.
Can you imagine? Just put yourself in her shoes for 1 second. Surviving 4 months of intense, exhausting psychological drama, doing the mind games, pushing your body in physical challenges, genuinely believing you are building this authentic, vulnerable connection with someone.
Putting it all on the line.
Fighting alongside them for the ticket to finale, just to get your phone back and realize you were nothing but a placeholder. You were a literal breathing prop for a guy's secret girlfriend at home to watch on TV while he secured his brand deals.
It's so twisted.
It is sickening. It violates every unspoken contract of human decency.
And the most infuriating part is how he reacted when confronted.
Oh my God, yes.
He didn't apologize. He tried to play semantic games with the hosts. He stood there and tried to claim, "Oh, well, we were just casually dating before the show. We weren't official, so it doesn't count."
Are you kidding me?
And the entire room, the hosts, the contestants, the crew, just laughed in his face. It was the flimsiest, most legally evasive defense ever recorded on reality television. He wanted the screen time, and he didn't care whose psychological well-being he had to bulldoze to get it.
It was pathetic, truly, but then right after that, we pivot to Saurabh and Niharika's defense, which was a whole different, wildly entertaining flavor of chaos.
A completely different energy.
Because they were also hauled up to the podium and accused of faking their relationship for the cameras.
The fake it till we make it allegations. Which, let's be honest, should just be the official tagline for the entire MTV network at this point.
Right. So they get confronted by the hosts. Now, Niharika had been doing all these podcast interviews after the show wrapped filming, and she was very vocal, calling the hosts specifically Urfi bias.
She was not holding back.
So Urfi and Naya corner her on the red carpet. They put a microphone in her face, expecting her to crumble or apologize. And Niharika, completely unfazed, not a drop of sweat on her brow, doubles down.
Unbelievable.
She absolutely refuses to grovel. She looks right back at them and basically says, "Yeah, I said it. I felt you were biased. The audience thinks you're biased. Deal with it."
You have to respect the sheer audacity of
They
it.
kind of did.
She looked a senior, highly influential television host right in the eye and essentially said, "I don't know who you were before I walked onto this set." It was incredibly rude, it was insubordinate, but it was undeniably compelling television. She refused to play the role of the repentant contestant.
I was screaming at my television, but then you have to analyze Saurabh's response to the fake relationship allegations because I was dying.
It was a masterclass.
People are yelling at them from the peanut gallery that their post-show couples reels are fake, that they have zero chemistry, that they're just doing it for the clout. And Saurabh doesn't get defensive. He doesn't start crying.
Nope.
He essentially just brushes some invisible dust off his shoulder and says, "Yeah, we're getting paid to make reels. We're shooting content. We're eating good food. We're getting paid sponsorships. We know our truth, and we don't need to explain our business model to you."
What's fascinating here, and what marks a massive shift in reality TV culture, is the absolute shamelessness of his response.
Totally shameless.
In a weird dystopian way, it's almost refreshing. 10 years ago, a contestant would have cried, screamed, and swore on their mother's life that their reality TV love was real.
They would have fought to the death to prove it.
Exactly. Saurabh just openly admits they are participating in the influencer economy. He's basically looking at the camera and saying, "We are employees of the algorithm, we are generating revenue, and business is booming."
So crazy.
He didn't deny faking the romance, he just pointed out how highly profitable it is to fake it. It is a master class in modern clout management. He stripped away the illusion and exposed the gears of the machine.
It is so dystopian. It's like staring into the void, but I kind of loved it because at least he wasn't lying to my face.
True.
But babes, Snark Squad.
Oh,
We have been avoiding it. We have been dancing around the absolute main event of the night.
there we go.
The emotional black hole that sucked all the oxygen, all the joy, and all the sanity out of that courtroom. We need to spend a massive chunk of time spiraling over this toxic triad.
The Yogesh, Ruru, and Akanksha love triangle explosion, the timeline of absolute unmitigated treachery.
It was a disaster of epic Shakespearean proportions. Let's try to break down the timeline that came out in that courtroom, because it was so incredibly convoluted, so full of contradictions, that even Karan Kundra, a man who navigates chaos for a living, was getting lost.
He looks so confused.
So, did Yogesh and Ruru actually break up in the real world on March 3rd, or was it March 29th? What happened at the Halloween party before filming? What happened on his birthday? The dates were flying everywhere.
Let's attempt to lay out the alleged facts, as murky as they are. Yogesh comes onto the show as a single man. He starts connecting with Akanksha. They build a bond. She invests in him emotionally.
Right.
Then in a twist that production clearly orchestrated, his ex-girlfriend, Ruru, enters the show as a wild card. Yogesh immediately, without hesitation, drops Akanksha and gravitates back to Ruru, claiming they have unresolved history and were meant to be.
Tale as old as time.
But the post-show timeline, once the cameras stop rolling, is where the narrative completely fractures into a million pieces.
Fractured is putting it lightly. It's shattered. So, in the middle of the courtroom screaming match, Ruru brings out her phone. She shares this picture, and then she references a highly sensitive video of Yogesh crying on Akanksha's shoulder after the show wrap.
Oh, the video.
And where did this video come from? This is the messiest, most invasive part of the entire night. Asmita, another contestant entirely, literally airdropped a private video from Suzanne's phone, and Suzanne is Akanksha's best friend, without asking.
It's evil genius behavior.
Asmita just happened to see Suzanne's phone open to the Favorites album at some promotional event, secretly airdropped the private video of Yogesh and Akanksha to her own phone, and hoarded it just so she could use it as nuclear ammo on national television months later.
That isn't just messy reality TV, that is digital espionage.
What?
That is reality TV black ops. The calculated premeditation required to see a private video on a friend's phone, covertly transfer it to your own device, and save it for a reunion taping is staggering.
I am horrified by the complete, absolute lack of boundaries. Who steals a private, deeply emotional video of two people crying off a castmate's unlocked phone just to expose someone for screen time?
Someone who wants a second season.
It is such a massive violation of privacy, but once that detail drops, it just ignites the entire stage. It is a powder keg. Ruru is screaming at the top of her lungs that Yogesh cheated on her with Akanksha post-show.
And Yogesh is screaming back.
He is screaming back that Ruru was emotionally abusive, that she was blackmailing him, threatening to ruin his life and his career if he ever left her. Akanksha is screaming that Yogesh played both of them and lied to everyone. It was deafening.
And here's where the argument transcends standard reality TV bickering and gets really dark.
Yeah, it got uncomfortable.
We have to talk about the below-the-belt attacks, and specifically how far across the line Akanksha went in her retaliation.
It was genuinely so hard to watch. I had to pause the TV.
It was intensely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it crossed a major ethical line. In her anger, and yes, let's acknowledge she had a right to be deeply angry if she was manipulated by Yogesh Akanksha, decided to go for total annihilation.
Total destruction.
She completely crossed the line from airing relationship grievances to attacking Yogesh's core identity. She attacked his sexuality.
Which is never okay.
Never. She essentially outed him, or at least made highly damaging allegations about his private life, calling him bisexual in a deeply derogatory, weaponized way on national television. And she didn't stop there. She brought his parents into it, screaming, "How would your mother feel about this?"
Oof.
It was no longer an attempt to win an argument or expose a lie. It was a calculated attempt to completely destroy his life outside the show.
And Yogesh is cornered, so he starts firing back with his own character assassinations, calling Ruru a desperate clout chaser, saying she only wanted to be with him to guarantee her own screen time.
It was just toxic mudslinging.
And then, right in the middle of this toxic sludge, the ultimate bomb drops. The pre-planned allegations.
Oh, the conspiracy theory.
Multiple people on the stage start yelling out allegations that Ruru's wildcard entry into the show was completely 100% pre-planned by Yogesh before filming even started. They allege that he told his ex-girlfriend to wait by the phone for the casting call, and that they explicitly conspired to manufacture this dramatic reunion with the ex storyline strictly to guarantee themselves maximum camera time and a central plotline.
Which, if true, completely invalidates every single tear Akanksha shed.
Wow.
Think about it. It means her entire emotional journey on the show was collateral damage. She wasn't a romantic prospect. She was an unwitting pawn in Yogesh and Ruru's pre-written script.
So I have to ask you, putting on your expert psychologist hat and looking at this smoldering crater of a love triangle, Who is the actual victim here? Is it Akanksha for being used as a pawn? Is it Ruru for allegedly being cheated on and gaslit? Or is it Yogesh for allegedly being blackmailed and having his sexuality weaponized on TV?
If we look at this through the lens of the Cartman drama triangle, which models the connection between personal responsibility and power in conflicts, I argue the core architect of this disaster is Yogesh.
Okay, break it down.
The foundational issue is Yogesh's absolute refusal to pick a lane, make a clean break, and communicate honestly with either woman. His chronic indecisiveness, coupled with his desperate need to always be perceived as the good guy while secretly playing both sides of the fence, turned two women into collateral damage for his screen time.
He wanted his cake and to eat it too.
Exactly. He wanted the highly produced, dramatic storyline with his ex, Ruru. But he also wanted the emotional backup, the ego stroke, of keeping Akanksha on the hook. He engineered a situation built entirely on deceit, where everyone was guaranteed to get hurt simply because he couldn't manage his own manufactured drama.
So true.
Nobody on that stage is entirely innocent. Akanksha's attacks were vile, and Ruru's alleged blackmail is toxic. But Yogesh built the arena they were all fighting in. He poured the gasoline.
Okay, that is a perfectly analytical, devastatingly accurate read on a situation that legitimately makes me want to pull my hair out by the roots.
I try my best.
Which actually leads us perfectly into the next part of our discussion tonight. Babes, Snark Squad, we are transitioning into a little game we like to play on the show. We call this Clout Chaser Energy.
It is my favorite conceptual game. It's where we put the fame-hungry on trial.
Exactly. We are going to discuss, based on the behavior we witnessed in this finale, who seems the most nakedly interested in fame over actual human connection. And I think we have some prime suspects lined up.
Target number one, without a doubt, has to be Deep Tanuj.
Oh, easily.
We touched on his betrayal earlier, but the sheer mechanics of it required deeper analysis. Having a whole, entire, committed, loving relationship waiting for you in your real life while you consciously pack a suitcase, fly to a villa, and go on television to pretend to fall in love with a stranger solely for the purpose of securing future brand deals. That is peak, absolute, zenith clout chaser energy.
It is sociopathic behavior. I keep thinking about the level of detachment required to execute that plan. To look a girl in the eyes, promise her the ticket to finale, hold her hand through stressful eliminations, and internally know that your actual girlfriend is sitting at home picking out the Instagram filter for your post-show reunion picture.
It's cold.
The psychological compartmentalization you need to do that is terrifying. And he didn't even try to hide the pivot once the camera stopped rolling. He secured the bag, got his followers, and immediately dropped the romantic act.
He treated human emotions like collateral. He viewed the entire MTV production as a summer internship for his influencer career. The girls were just networking contacts.
Okay, target number 2 for Clout Chaser Energy, we absolutely cannot forget Vishu. Because the courtroom exposed that he used Suzanne, and I'm quoting the show directly here, this was said out loud, like a football.
It's horrible.
He used her just to make another girl in the village jealous.
This specific behavior raises a massive question about the ethics of reality TV dating. Using another human being as a prop to incite jealousy in a third party is a toxic tactic as old as time itself. But doing it on national television, where that person's humiliation is immortalized on streaming platforms forever just to secure your own storyline.
That is next level.
That takes a special, highly refined kind of narcissism. He didn't care about Suzanne's feelings, her dignity, or her experience. He only cared about his narrative arc. He needed a strategic pivot to stay relevant in the game, and she was the nearest available object he could use to cause a scene.
It is just so deeply, casually cruel. But then we have target number 3, who might honestly be the overarching mastermind of clout for the entire season, Yogesh.
The architect of his own demise.
Engineering a completely pre-planned, fake storyline with his ex-girlfriend, Ruru, just to guarantee that the producers would give them maximum camera time. That is next level, Machiavellian manipulation. He basically ghost wrote his own season of television before he even signed the contract. He studied the genre. He knew exactly what the producers salivate over a dramatic, unresolved ex returning to disrupt a new connection. And he served it to them on a silver platter. And he was completely willing to use Akanksha as the necessary collateral damage to make the conflict seem authentic.
What is truly fascinating about Yogesh's strategy is the hubris of it.
Oh, the ego.
He actually thought he was smart enough and charming enough to control the narrative post-show. He thought he could manipulate the producers, the cast, and the audience. But reality TV is a beast that eventually eats its trainers.
I love that quote.
He successfully pre-planned the entry, but he fundamentally couldn't pre-plan the emotional fallout. He couldn't control the airdrop videos, the hidden cameras, or the absolute fiery destruction of his reputation in that finale courtroom. He flew too close to the clout sun, assuming his wings wouldn't melt.
He absolutely burned up upon re-entry. It was spectacular to watch, but terrifying to analyze. Okay, shifting gears slightly, this next part is going to require some serious, possibly uncomfortable self-reflection from both of us.
Oh no.
Snark Squad, we are playing Would We Date Them?
I am already judging our hypothetical choices. My standards are about to plummet.
We have to break down which of these chaotic contestants we would actually entertain dating in real life and which ones are immediate, walk away from the table, block their number red flags. Let's start with the red flags because, unfortunately, the list is extensively long.
The reddest flag, waving violently in a hurricane-force wind, is Gullu.
Oh, absolutely. Without hesitation.
The aggression, the physical tackles during challenges, the open, unhinged threats of violence against other cast members on camera. I cannot emphasize this enough to anyone listening. This is a walking HR violation, not a potential boyfriend.
Say it louder.
If you are on a date at a nice restaurant and the guy threatens to physically assault the waiter because he brought the wrong appetizer, you do not find that endearing. You do not call it alpha energy. You excuse yourself to the bathroom, climb out the window, and call an Uber.
Run for your life.
The fact that the show's edit tried to frame his toxic aggression as passion or protective male energy is deeply societally concerning.
Yeah.
In the real world, that behavior is a restraining order waiting to happen.
100%. He is an immediate block on all platforms. Do not pass go. Do not collect 20 lakh rupees. And speaking of immediate blocks, Yogesh is right there on the bench next to him.
Oh, agreed.
I could not, for one single second of my life, deal with the sheer indecisiveness and emotional manipulation. If a guy is crying on my shoulder on a Tuesday, holding hands with his ex-girlfriend on a Wednesday, and then texting me on Thursday to say he's being blackmailed by a shadow organization, no, absolutely not.
It sounds exhausting.
I am way too old, and my nightly retinol skincare routine is far too expensive to cry over a man who cannot pick a lane.
You wouldn't be his girlfriend. You would be his full-time crisis management PR firm.
I would be drafting apology notes on his behalf. But, okay, let's look for the silver lining. What about the green or at least beige flags? Is there anyone from this cast who is actually dateable in the real world?
That's a tough one.
We have to discuss Saurabh. Because yes, he is chasing fame, but he seems completely refreshingly unapologetic about hustling for his reels. He's not pretending to be Romeo writing sonnets. He's just a guy making content to pay his rent.
This is the ultimate philosophical dilemma of our modern era. Is an honest, transparent clout chaser better than a fake, manipulative romantic?
I honestly think I'd prefer the honest clout chaser. Hear me out.
I'm listening.
At least with Saurabh, you know exactly where you stand in the relationship hierarchy. You're like, okay, babe, we have dinner reservations at 8 p.m. Make sure the lighting in the restaurant is good for the TikTok transition. It is a clear, mutually beneficial business arrangement.
Yeah.
There is no deceit. You aren't being gaslit. Whereas with the fake romantics, the deep pantses and the Yogeshes, they are selling you a fairy tale. They are looking into your eyes, promising forever, while actively texting 5 other women under the table. I will take the transparent, transactional business partner over the emotional con artist any day of the week.
It is a highly pragmatic choice. At least with Saurabh, you know your ring light will always be charged, and your angles will be flawless. It's an investment in your own personal brand.
It is. It's synergy. Okay, moving into the next debate. Most delusional romantic. We have to look at this entire cast and maybe the ecosystem around it and debate which person involved in this show is living in an absolute impenetrable fantasy world. I'll go first.
Let's hear the verdict.
My pick for most delusional romantic is Akanksha. And Snark Squad, I say this with love because my heart truly broke for her watching that finale, but babes, the delusion was real and it was deep.
It was deep.
Fighting tooth and nail, literally screaming until her vocal cords gave out, crying on national television, dropping horrible below-the-belt insults, and risking her entire public reputation. For what? For Yogesh.
Insanity.
A guy who literally ran away from her and hid behind the excuse of my mental health the precise second that things got slightly complicated with his ex. He offered her absolutely nothing but confusion, instability, and a side character edit, and she fought for him like he was the last available man on a sinking ship.
It's the classic psychological trap. She was fighting for the idea of him that she had meticulously constructed in her head, not the actual highly flawed man standing in front of her. She was defending her own fantasy.
Exactly. It is the literal definition of a delusional romantic to go to war to defend a man who won't even step up to defend himself. She was doing all the heavy lifting for a guy who was already halfway out the door. But who is your pick? Who is more delusional than that?
My pick for the most delusional romantic isn't the contestant on the stage at all. It is the audience. It's the fans.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is a pivot. Hit me with a theory.
Think about it. The fans who genuinely, earnestly believe that any of these 20-something highly curated, strategically managed influencers went onto an MTV soundstage to find their soulmate instead of fast fashion sponsorship.
Ooh.
The fans who spend hours of their one precious human life fighting in the comment sections of Instagram, defending the honor of these reality stars, analyzing their micro-expressions in slow motion to prove that true love exists between two people who met 3 weeks ago. That is the absolute peak of delusion.
You're not wrong.
These contestants are building corporate brands. The fans are taking their own deep-seated desires for a fairy tale romance and projecting them onto what is essentially a highly edited, producer-manipulated 45-minute commercial for protein powder and energy drinks.
Oh my God, that is such a dark, deeply analytical read on the fandom, but you were so incredibly right. We project our own hopeless romanticism, our own desire for connection onto them, and they just use that parasocial bond to cash the affiliate link checks.
Exactly. We're the delusional ones because we keep buying the product they're selling, even when we know the ingredients are toxic.
Okay, before I spiral into a full-blown existential crisis about my television viewing habits and the meaninglessness of modern media, let's hit our final topic for the night: TV relationship survival rules.
I love this.
Since we have thoroughly established tonight that the reality TV system is fundamentally broken and rigged, we need to outline the ridiculous, snarky, ironclad rules we would personally need written into a legal contract before we would ever consider stepping foot on a dating show set.
We need legal binding protection from the mess. What is rule number 1?
Rule number 1, and this is entirely non-negotiable for my mental health: a mandatory polygraph lie detector test administered during the casting process, specifically asking about secret girlfriends, boyfriends, or situationships waiting at home.
Yes.
If the polygraph needle jumps even a millimeter when they ask if you are single, you are immediately ejected from the casting room via a trap door in the floor. No deep tanchu situations allowed.
A physical trapdoor is essential for dramatic effect. I fully support this. Rule number 2. A strict, legally enforced, no moms on Instagram clause.
Yes, you are referencing the absolute disaster between Ron and Asmita.
Exactly. If your parents are fighting your battles in the Instagram comments section, a reality TV gossip page, you are immediately in breach of contract and forfeit your stipend. We need a massive firewall between the villa drama and the parental units. Your mother cannot serve as your unhinged publicist. The parasocial parenting has to stop.
It is so mortifyingly embarrassing. If my mom started fighting my ex-boyfriend's mom in the comments section of a Splitsvilla fan page, I would have to legally change my name and move to a different continent. It's too much.
It's unbearable.
Okay, rule number 3. Confiscating all cell phones. And I don't just mean during the filming of the show. I mean at all promotional events, wrap parties, and cast dinners for 6 months after filming wraps.
You want to institute a digital Geneva Convention.
Because we cannot, under any circumstances, have a repeat of the Asmita airdrop situation. If castmates can casually, secretly airdrop private videos of you crying in a vulnerable moment just to hoard them and use them as ammunition at a reunion taping half a year later, nobody is safe.
Yeah.
You have to hand over your unlocked iPhone to a neutral Swiss guard before you are allowed to enter any room with another reality star.
It is the only way to ensure diplomatic immunity and prevent mutually assured digital destruction.
It really is. Oh my gosh, babes. Snark squad. My head is literally spinning. We have unpacked so much trauma tonight.
So much trauma.
We have analyzed the manipulation, the rigged obstacle courses, the questionable voting math, and the death of modern romance. I need to take a moment to thank the Snark squad from the bottom of my heart for hanging out, drinking wine, and wading through this absolute chaos with us. You guys are the only reason we stay sane while consuming this garbage.
You are our tether to reality. Without you, we are just yelling at a television screen.
So we have some direct questions for you, Snark Squad. I need you to get into the comments right now and tell us your thoughts. Based on everything we discussed tonight, is reality TV love ever real or is it 100% fake?
Let us know.
Is there even a 1% margin of error for true love to blossom in a villa? Also, please, I am begging you, share your absolute worst dating app experience. I need you to make us feel better about deleting our profiles. Give us the dead fish stories, give us the finance bro horrors, give us the ghosting tales.
We deeply need the validation that our choices to leave the apps were correct. And most importantly, on a culinary note, what is your favorite comfort pasta dish for a midweek spiral? Because after this conversation, I might need to cook a completely different one tomorrow.
Share your recipes. I want all the carbs. And babes, just a quick reminder while you are down there in the comments, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us keep the wine flowing and the takes hot. And please share this episode with your messiest bestie, the one who loves the Bravo drama, the MTV chaos, and the reality TV mess just as much as you do.
Spread the chaos. It is a communal experience.
Stay chaotic, stay delusional, and we will see you on the Snark side.
But wait, before you close the app and go to sleep, I want to leave you with one final mind-bending thought to mull over while you finish the last sip of your wine.
Ooh, drop the mic.
Think about the winners. Think about Gullu and Kara. If a couple wins a dating show because a famous YouTuber mobilizes 38.4 million fans to vote for them, does that relationship even belong to the couple anymore? Or do they instantly become employees of their own fandom, permanently trapped in a fake, highly public romance, simply because breaking up would mean betraying the millions of voters who built their entire empire? Drink on that, babes.